What happened to the DLC for Little Nightmares 2? Tarsier Studios plan to make 3 DLC for Little Nightmares 2. They introduced us to the characters in the digital comics and dropped a few hints here and there, not to mention the character models from the game files. You could say that they are just glitch remains and that the comic kids aren't even canon, but Lollipop Boy's portrait shows up in the school, and the character models have the same animations as playable characters like Mono and Six. Glitch remains aren't playable characters, so it's clear that these character models were intended to be used for some kind of DLC. The Secrets of Amor gave us 3 interconnected stories with the runaway kid. This time, I imagine the DLCs would have been more self-contained, in which you play as a different character in each DLC. Chapter 1. Lollipop Boy wakes up in the Pale City, seeking refuge from the rain in the school from Little Nightmares 2. The teacher welcomes him in, but refuses to let him leave. The lunch lady's corpse can be seen in the school chapter of Little Nightmares 2. This character was initially intended for the canteen segment of the game, but ended up being cut, probably to introduce a new boss in the DLC rather than reusing the teacher. Upon defeating the lunch lady, the DLC would likely end with the protagonist being caught by the teacher, and presumably killed. However, if the DLC overlaps with Little Nightmares 2, the character being punished in this clip could actually be Lollipop Boy after the events of the comic. Initially, I thought the timeline didn't match up, because the lunch lady is already dead in Little Nightmares 2. However, the fact that there is still food prepared for the students suggests she might not have been dead for long. One might argue that the bullies prepared the food for themselves, but they're too occupied with fighting and bullying, so I doubt it. Chapter 2 would likely occur after the events of the digital comic. Although it's suggested that the doctor kills Pigtail's girl, it's possible he relocates her to a more secure part of the hospital. To distinguish this DLC from Little Nightmares 2, we would explore new floors of the hospital, and encounter more of the doctor's experiments. But who would the new boss be? I reviewed the Little Nightmares 2 art book for clues. There's only one other grown-up in the hospital, another doctor who, unlike the main doctor, isn't affected by the signal tower. He seems to operate on a patient in front of an operating theater. This DLC might feature other hospital concept art brought to life, like the experiments on children. These experiments might aim to harness the life force of children who are immune to the signal tower's influence. The second doctor could be a more meticulous antagonist, using surgical tools to hunt down our protagonist. The final chapter would likely be the most unique DLC of all, as we would get a brand new boss, that being the Mysterious Hand. The comic ended with Mono being cornered by Thin Man, so perhaps we would have saved him in the DLC. A character model of one of these children was reused as glitch remains in Little Nightmares 2. However, I believe this was simply Tarsier Studios reusing an asset that happened to look good as glitching remains.